Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today's video is going to be about tiny water leaks in your house and what you can do to prevent those. So over the weekend, we were camping out of town. Nobody was at the house, and I got a high water use alert from the sensors that we have called AquaHawk. If you haven't heard of those, you should definitely get them. They're freaking lifesavers. But anyways, it basically showed me that, hey, while we were gone, we've been using a couple gallons of water every hour on the hour all night. So usually when something like that happens, from what I found for being a homeowner, the usual suspect is a leaky toilet. Now, where the toilet's leaky, that's up for debate, but usually it's in the spot where the toilet bowl connects to the tank. So what I did when I got home is I went ahead around to the toilets. One of these I've done recently. Oddly enough, what we're going to come to find is it's the same model and brand toilet of the one that's failing now. But basically, when we got back, I went and I put purple dye, which you can get a little food coloring, mix it up in a cup, pour it into the tank of your toilet, and just let it sit for a little bit. But what you'll notice if you use, a bright color is if there's a leak between the tank and the bowl, you will notice that food coloring will start to make its way into the bowl, even though nobody's flushed the toilet. So I suspected it was our bedroom toilet, and I hate being proven right, but I was right. So let me show you what I got here. What you're going to want to do is first remove the tank lid off of your toilet. Then what I do is I take several drops of food coloring, put them in a cup, put some water in, mix it around. I then take it, pour it into the top of the toilet. We're going to want to then wait about 15 or 20 minutes. And at that point, we should be able to come back to the toilet, take a look at the bowl. And if there is a leak between the tank and the bowl, we're going to see food coloring in the bowl. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the purple liquid that we had before, and we're just going to kind of pour it into the tank there. So now that we got this closed, we're going to leave it for about 15 or 20 minutes. Every toilet's different depending on how bad it is, but we're going to do 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to come back and see how we're doing. We've let this sit for a little while, and let's see what's going on. Much like I suspected, you can see that liquid is purple, which means that we've got a leak in the flapper. So what I'm going to have to do is shut off the water to start, which is right down here. So we're going to shut this off. Okay. And then we are going to flush the toilet probably twice. This holds about 4 gallons of water, I want to say. So if we flush it twice, that's going to get most of the water out of the tank. The rest we're going to have to dump out when we take this out. So I'm going to take off the top here, and we're going to set this over here. We're going to undo the fill side. And before I do that, just as a recommendation, because there is water, a little bit of water in here, I'm going to put a towel down. And there we go. Okay, so to do this, there's 2 screws, one here and one right there, and they correspond with these plugs, or screw caps, I should say, that are under here. So what I'm going to do, put my hand underneath here, and I'm just going to unscrew this. Okay, there goes one cap. I'm going to move my towel under here just a little bit just to catch any water in case it comes out. Now keep in mind, for those of you who haven't really ever worked on a toilet before, all of this water we're working on is clean water. This is not toilet water. So if you get some water anywhere, clean it up, to the best of your ability, but don't freak out, so to speak. All right, so I pull off these two little caps. This is what they look like. The screws screw in there. I found this is an easier way to do it, and basically the technique I'm going to use is I'm going to lift this tank up and we're going to pour it into the toilet here. See, do that. No water's coming out. Then we're going to kind of just tilt and empty. Alrighty there. So, as you can see now in here, those are our two screws. There's our flapper valve with the fill valve. And if you can't already tell looking at that seal, I mean, it just looks horrible. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to close this lid and we're going to flip this toilet over. Or I should say we're going to flip this tank over. Okay. So, here is one of the seals. As you can see, this one is totally fine. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this piece off and we're going to replace this whole contraption. I know what you're probably thinking, which is that you could probably just change the actual valve on the inside, which is true. However, when I've done it in the past with the previous toilet, it didn't seem to work. It seems like you've got to get, for this specific toilet, a very specific flapper in order for it to work properly. So, I know I said I was going to go to Home Depot. I actually did go to Home Depot, and I ended up going to Lowe's as well. And I remembered once I got there that Lowe's was actually the place that I wanted to go. This is what I ended up picking up. This is made by FluidMaster. The model is K-540A-015. Basically what this is a universal flush valve kit that has the flush valve, the flapper, and a tool that comes with it. And that tool is designed to take off this piece so the whole piece comes out. This kit's about 20 bucks plus tax or so. Mine is a 3-inch flapper. Make sure you measure. I already knew what it was, but you might need a 2-inch flapper. But basically, this kit is great. Three parts to do this, and you're all set. So we're going to start by opening up the kit, and we're going to get this wrench tool out. And what we're going to do is set the wrench on here, and you kind of got to hold on. Let me get some good leverage here. And just kind of twist, and you'll feel it start to twist. And I don't know why I just did it that direction. There we go, now it's loose. So we're going to set our tool down. And we're basically going to unscrew this. Easy peasy. That comes out, set that down. Now we're going to flip this back over. And I'm going to kind of try to show you, this is the piece that we just took out. All right. And I also try to, when I do this, to just kind of note where on the lever this was connected to, so that when you reconnect it, it won't fight you. All right, so here's our old flapper and fill valve. If you can't see, this was the gasket that was in there, and I mean, I can literally take it apart. There's pieces of it in there. I'm actually going to use this to wipe it a little bit. If you can't get all of it, no big deal. You can flush it back down the toilet. So, here's our kit right here. There is our new fill valve and flapper. There's our new seal. They do send new screws. You can use these if you want. Like I said, I lifted the toilet straight up, and basically no liquid came out. So I think that for the most part, it's not leaking. But just in case, like I said, they do give you some fresh washers right here that can kind of go in here. But this is sealed. I'm not going to touch it. I think it's fine. I haven't had any problems with those leaking, but hold on to this little kit that comes with it. And you can, like I said, you can replace it now. You got to pull two more nuts out of there, which I don't feel like doing. Or at some point in the future, if it's causing a problem, you can replace it. So what we're gonna do is start by popping this in, and then just so you know, this just kind of goes up and down and you can adjust the height. So what you'll wanna do is kind of line up the old one and do it until you think that they're about right where they should be. There we go. So now what we'll do is we'll undo the ring here. This is gonna go on the bottom. All right, one thing that's cool about these two is that this piece right here, if you can see, is adjustable. So you can kind of adjust the quickness in which the flapper opens and closes, which will ultimately give you some good timing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert this in here, being careful to kind of line it up properly. And it was about like that. And then I'm going to take this little ring. Actually, I'm going to stick my hand in here so I can put this on the top, and then I'll show you what it is. So basically, just like we took it off, this piece now goes in there, and this new ring goes on the back. And then to tighten it, you use the same wrench you used to take it off. And you want to do it till it's pretty snug. Okay, I think I'll give it one more time. Okay, that's good. All right, now we take our seal, put it on, and this part of it is done. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our tank, flip it over. We're going to realign these two little holes and set it down. And as I did that, I went backwards. My apologies. Okay, let's line this up. And we're in. Start to tighten one of them, get it somewhat tight. Put the other one on. So now what I'm gonna do is, we've got this piece adjusted. This is the fill. So I'm gonna make sure that it's going down into there. Let's get the chain. Reconnect this. And of course that's gonna be longer. So now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna adjust this little piece that was in here. Right around here should be fine. Got that back in. Okay. There we go. Let's try. Yep, that opens and closes. So now let me show you what I was just doing. See, this is back in here. Tube's coming in here. What I was doing was adjusting this chain. So now you'll see when you hit it, up, it opens. Pretty good. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna turn the water back on. This is good. I'm not seeing any leaks right here. And as you can see, that water is slowly filling. Okay, so I put the lid back on the toilet, and now we are going to do a test. Let's see if it flushes. Voila. So if you've done this at home with me, congratulations. This right here would probably be at least a 2-hour minimum labor call from a plumber. And most likely they would have one of these in-house. But like I said, they may not have the universal one. I know a lot of plumbers that do carry it just because it's a lot easier to have one of these than, just random flappers, unless you've got a toilet that only specifically takes it. But basically, $20, about 20 minutes of your time, and you just saved yourself probably a few $100s. If I had to guess, if I was a plumber and I was coming out there on a Saturday to make a service call, I'd be charging a couple $100 for labor, and then probably another $100 or something for this part, and would go on my merry way. All right, so before we get out of here, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to test and just make sure 100% that this repair took. So what we're going to do is I've already got my solution mixed, my coloring oil, put that back in there, close the lid, and we're going to give it about 10-15 minutes, and we're going to come back and see how it looks. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes I gave it, and now for the ultimate test, let's see if we've got any purple liquid in the toilet. And we don't. So our valve flapper combination worked. Like I said, 20 bucks at Lowe's, works almost every time. Anybody can do it. I hope this was able to help you if you have a leaky toilet going on or some weird toilet situation. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if there's any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. And for the future, if there's anything you'd like to see me fix, let me know, and I'll be happy to give it a shot. Until next time, take it easy.